We have tried recording a couple of times online, didn't work, but I'm glad now we finally met in person.
Give thanks. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Can you please start by introducing yourself for those who might not know you?
My name is Abba Amlak, Grandmaster of Abakalipi Institute of Spiritual Knowledge. I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, I'm a father. Yeah.
A lot of times when you want to understand something, it's good for you to start with the fundamentals. And so maybe you could start by what is spirituality?
Spirituality is to simplify it, to make it as understandable as possible. The word spirit refers to breath. So spirituality is a way of breathing. Breathing consciously, breathing, inhaling, exhaling. Spirituality is everyday life. Spirituality is waking up. It's us sitting here having a conversation. Spirituality is okay. In the African perspective, there is no point in time where a person is separated from their spirituality. So even the food we eat, the different types of food that we eat coming from the different regions where you find the different groups of people, that food is intricately connected to their faith. It's intricately connected to their culture, their tradition, their stories. And spirituality in its simplest is life, is being alive and acknowledging that you are alive and acknowledging that other people are alive as well. We are sharing breath. That's the only thing we can actually share in this world. All of us. We share the same spirit. We breathe the same breath. So spirituality is basically awareness of yourself. Yeah, man.
So in that sense, no one can say that they're not spiritual.
Nobody can say they're not spiritual. It's impossible. There are no non-spiritual people in the world, because first of all, remember this, we are all spirits having a human experience. So we are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirits first, who came into a physical world to gain experience of physical reality in order to go back to the spirit world and carry on existing in memory, carry on existing in energy, carry on existing as spirit. So, no. There are no non-spiritual people in the world. It's impossible to find that.
So, with regards to spirituality, what does the work that you do look like?
With regards to spirituality, the work that I do, like I said, I'm a teacher. And the bulk of what I do is I teach. The core lesson of what I teach is self-knowledge. Because I believe that all subjects in the world, all educational systems and institutions in the world are based on a man's search for identity, are based on a man's search for their place in the world, are based on a man's understanding of the world they find around. So the highest lesson to teach is self-knowledge. So my work looks like that. I try to help people rediscover parts of themselves that were buried by ego, buried by trauma, buried by past experiences, buried by family, buried by community. Because a lot of us, we tend to lose the essence of who we are and cover it up with what we receive from everywhere else. So your parents told you this about yourself, and we believe that, and you grow into that. Your friends told you this about yourself, and you accepted that, and you went out and acted it out. Your teachers at school said, no, you can't do this. You are better off there, and you believed that. And so it creates a loud noise in our minds. And in that loud noise, we tend to drown our true voice. We forget who we are. So my work is basically trying to help you remember who you are. Yeah, man.
So that seems also, the community plays a huge role in terms of helping us forget who we are. But I guess we don't do that when we are kids.
Thing is, you must remember, a human being is only honest for 7 years of their life.
Is this when they're kids?
After 7 years, we start telling lies to ourselves, to our community, to our friends, to our family. We start becoming liars in order to fit in order to be accepted, in order to be a part of a group, in order to be the teacher's favorite, in order to be seen better off than. We start lying. We start forgetting who we are. And the honesty of a 7-year-old child going down to birth. When a child is hungry, they're going to cry. When a child is tired, they're going to cry and fall asleep. When a child wants attention, they're going to grab and cry for their attention. That child is being honest. They cannot lie about what they feel. Right? That child now starts to develop speech. And then you start to hear things like, Mommy, Renatus is hungry. Children speak about themselves in the third person. Daddy Abba is tired. Mommy Renatus is hungry. Daddy Abba wants to play. But I'm talking about myself. Here's the honesty of that speech. Children realize that they are not their body. So they need to speak on behalf of that body that cannot speak for itself. The body is hungry, not me. So, Mommy, this body is hungry. It needs food. Daddy, this body wants to play. It's feeling bored now. It wants to go out. After 7 years, we seem to confuse the self and the shell. We make them one. Spirituality is a journey to remembering that the shell is not the self. Separating that duality and realizing that no, actually, it is the self that animates the shell. The shell is just the shell. It cannot speak for itself. It cannot defend itself. It cannot reason on itself. It needs the self. Now, spirituality is that, dealing with that self. I don't know if you understand.
It makes a lot of sense. So, what would the soul be?
The soul now is like that camera there that is constantly watching and taking images, recording videos of our experiences. So what you call the soul is an accumulation of human experience. The soul is born with you at the moment of birth, but it does not die at the moment of death. It carries on as a memory. It carries on in energetic form, which become genetic imprints on the children that we leave behind. You hear things like, what you do, maybe you have a peculiar habit of, after you finish eating, you bang your plate 3 times on the table. Nobody knows why you do that. You don't even know why you do that. But suddenly an old grandmother of the family or an old uncle of the family notices this and says, no, but your great-grandfather used to do exactly the same thing. You don't know why you do it. It's just in you that every time I finish eating, I bang my plate 3 times on the table. Every time, without mistake. But I don't know why. Only to find that my great-grandfather used to do that. A lot of us exhibit certain behaviors. I remember there was a student of mine when I was still teaching in the Free State. He had a habit of coming home and asking for theREN from his grandmother. And his excuse was, no, he has a headache. He needs to go and buy grandpa. So the grandmother one day, she sees this pattern. She notices this pattern and says, no. Okay, let me help my child out because apparently he's suffering from serious headaches. So she goes out and buys a whole box of grandpa, as a grandmother would. When he comes back home, hey, granny, I need theREN, hey, my headache. He said, no, don't worry. Go in the kitchen cupboard. Your grandpa is there. When he finds that box, he can't ask for theRENs anymore because now there is the grandpa. So he has to go back to the granny and lie now. Actually, that type of grandpa doesn't work for me. I need the other one. So now granny's back to square one. She has to pop out theREN again. Until one day she says, no, man. Your father's elder brother, meaning your grandfather now, used to do the exact same thing. Every time he'd come home, he'd ask for money because he had a headache. And we found out later that actually he started smoking cigarettes. And that's how he was caught by his grandmother. Oguti, no, lumtwana lo uyabhema. He's smoking cigarettes now. But it's a habit that he did not even know. He just came and thought, no, this is his plan. He's going to lie to his grandmother and get theREN every day for a cigarette. But this woman had watched this happen with her husband's brother. All those years before. And he was not even born. So he inherited a trait from his grandfather. Genetic imprints. That's where the soul now gains immortality. It's the memory from the past carrying on in the future through the descendants.
So that means then what we do just doesn't die with us. So the type of life that we're living is going to have an influence on the future generation. Be careful
of the choices you make today. The choices you make today are going to determine the future of your descendants. Take, for instance, let's not put it in a 50-year span or a 100-year span. Let's put it in a 9-month span. 9 months. It's a blink of an eye. It's not even a year. When a woman falls pregnant and she drinks and she parties and she's stressful and she's provocative and she's always exposing herself out there, the child in her womb develops fetal syndrome, alcohol fetal syndrome, Down syndromes, you can name them. It's the mother's choice affecting the child's future, and the child did not even get a chance to decide. Let's stretch that 9 months into 23 years. Mama and Papa are abusing each other, fighting each other all the time. And the kids are growing up watching this. By the time this girl is 23 years old, she doesn't understand what love is. She thinks that love has to be aggressive. This boy, by the time he's 23 years old, he thinks that love is dominance. Now you've got these 23-year-old girls and boys going around recreating and reenacting their father's traumas and abuses. Choice made by the parents is affecting the children and their children after them. Because now these two people don't understand what love is. They find themselves together as a couple and they give birth to children who are going to be raised in such a cold home. And they're going to be antisocials in society. And antisocial tendencies can manifest in so many different ways, as homicidal tendencies, criminal tendencies, serial killers, rapists. Look at the world today. Look at the youth today. Look at our communities today, the level of violence. It has to have a trigger. It has to as a starting point. Look at our past. Our parents went through oppressions and apartheids and all of that. That brewed a whole lot of trauma in them. And they raised us with that hatred. Now we can't even love each other. Do you understand? Let's stretch that now to 100-year period. We are carrying battle scars of wars that we did not even fight. Me and you today are sitting here obsessed with colonialism, but we were never colonized. We were born into a society where people lived together. We went to school with these people. But now we have to carry on a fight that we were not part of. And those are battle scars in our consciousness that prevent us from growing forward and further, that prevent us from evolving. So, our behaviors today, our choices today, the things we do today are leaving lasting imprints far beyond what we can comprehend.
That's fascinating.
Our fathers, Mapantsula, Shebeen kings and tavern dwellers, they gave birth to a generation of drunkards and party goers and street bash and clubbers and we gave birth to drug addicts and abonyaupe, amapara, children who don't sleep at home. They're always at a party somewhere. What are they going to give birth to? It started somewhere. It started in Sophia Town with the two-tones and the two-tone shoes and the jazz clubs. It started with the golden OGs and the blues and now it's amapiano. What we do today is going to trickle down like an avalanche from an ice mountain. And it's going to affect that little house that had nothing to do with that mountain to start with. We need to be wise in our choices. And this is where spirituality becomes now the referee. Are you breathing right? Because if you're breathing right, you would have enough oxygen flowing to your brain and you'd have clear thoughts.
How does one breathe right?
The one thing in you that is constantly vibrating is your breath. This is how we know you are alive. We check for your pulse. We check for your breath. We check for your heartbeat. This is how we know you are alive. The heart is not the pumping agent. The heart is the tool used by the pumping system. And the pumping system is breath. So how do you breathe right? Study your breathing patterns and see how you breathe in what situation. If you are anxious, You breathe from up here. Very short breaths. That deprives your brain of oxygen and it slows down your processing, brings down your capacity. It incapacitates you. This is why anxious people make the worst decisions. If you are angry, listen to your breathing pattern. You are breathing from here, the center of your chest. This is why you want to fold into yourself. You are putting unnecessary strain on your heart. Now, you are forcing the heart to push an extravagant amount of blood into your limbs, your body. And once that happens, something triggers the adrenal gland. Now you get into a flight or fight mode. It's either you're going to run or you're going to fight. But either way, you're going to exhaust your own energy. Listen to your breathing pattern when you are happy. You breathe from all the way deep here. This is why when people even laugh, they get stomach cramps. They are happy. They are pulling it all in to fulfill their whole body. And they energize themselves just by being happy because of the amount of oxygen they're taking in. So how do you breathe properly? Use your creativity correctly from now on. From now on, when you're thinking creatively, creativity has two directions. It's in one direction, but it can either go left or right. It can either go to worry. That's creativity. When you're worried about something based on something else. I'm worried about this interview because of another bad interview I had last week. Now my worry is recreating a situation that is not even here. That's creativity. A whole lot of us are artists out there because we create such worrying situations for ourselves. And worry is always based on something else. I'm afraid this is going to happen because this happened the last time.
There's always a reason behind it.
There's always a reason behind it. So that's creativity in the left direction. Creativity in another extreme becomes anxiety. Now I'm anticipating things and events that have not even yet unfolded. And I have no clue, no basis, no reference point of my fears.
So would that be, I'm afraid of what happens after I die?
It's not even that. It's, I'm afraid of death. You have not yet experienced death. Nobody beyond the dead has come back and said, it's actually painful to die, or it's actually a pleasure to die. We are anxious about something that we have not even yet experienced. So, anxiety would be, there's a promotion at work and I'm qualified for it. But my anxiety would say to me, what if I don't get the job? What if I get the job and I botch it? What if somebody else is more qualified than me and then I don't take it? I hold myself back. I prevent myself from moving forward because of all the fears that I've created. Anxiety breeds fears. Worry breeds regrets. Fears and regrets are the same thing in opposite direction. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Regret is regretting the evidence that you see from your own actions. So one is the obverse and one is the other verse. There are two verses, one obverse and the other transverse or yonaleo. But one is this side and one is that side. They're two sides of the same coin. Regret and fear. You regret based on the evidence of your own actions. Oh, why did I do that? Fear is regret of something that you don't even know yet, false evidence appearing real. So regret and fear are the same thing, same emotion. That also block your breathing. They disturb your breathing patterns. So spirituality is getting to a point where your breath is undeterred by your thoughts, and your thoughts are uninterrupted by your emotions. When your mind, your body, and your soul flow together like this mic, this bar, and this stand, the system flows.
So with everything that you have spoken about, could it be possible that a person is in a perfect balance? Because I feel like, fear, anxiety, in a way that kind of make, well, as we used to say, makes us feel alive. So could someone be in perfect harmony with the self?
It's possible. There are 5 questions that you need to answer for yourself. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why am I here? What is it that I have to do? And where am I going?
So who I am?
Who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here? What is it that you have to do? What is your mandate? And then when you are done, where do you go? These 5 questions are the basis of all philosophical traditions in the world, all spiritual traditions in the world, and all religious institutions in the world. Where do we come from? We come from God. We come from heaven. We come from the ancestors. We come from the gods. In all cultures around the world, there's an answer for that. Who are we? We are the children of man. We are the descendants of gods. We are the children of Prometheus. We are the children of Muntu. We all have a story to tell about our origin. Why are we here? We are here to survive a galactic battle. That's another story. We are here to plant and replenish the world and to multiply and fill the earth. Another tradition says that every tradition has an answer for why we are here. What are we here to do? Others say we are here to worship God. Others say we are here to build pyramids. Others say we are here to make babies. There's always an answer for that. And where are we going? Others say hell or heaven. Others say Zion. Others say Sheol. Others say Hades. Others say to the ancestors. Others say we're going to the stars. There's an answer for all these questions. And these questions are the basis of all human knowledge. But here's the trick. If you're going to answer these questions from an observer's point of view, from an outside perspective, looking in, you're going to create religions. You're going to be stuck in spiritual traditions that don't evolve. You're going to be carry on perpetuating cultures that are oppressive because you're looking from outside. But if you take these questions and ask them to yourself internally, who are you? I am that I am, and besides me there is none other. Do you get that? And remember, the word I am, or the name I am, in some cultures is the name of God. So when you start to say I am Renetas, you are saying the God that is me, the God I am, who is known as Abba, the God I am, who is known as Temba, the God I am, who is known as Philip. So I am. If you can be aware of how you introduce yourself to other people, that before you even call your name, you first put God first. You first put presence, existence. I am, meaning I'm here, I'm present, I'm alive. You can touch me. I am. And then you give me your name. So what comes first? Your name or presence? This is why we say sawubona. I see your presence. I acknowledge your presence. Radumela. I agree. I accept that you are here. You are present. If we could see God in each other first before our names, we would have a different perspective on this earth. That's who we are. We are God first. Yes, there's one God, but there's many of us. So it's impossible to have one God. There's as many gods as there are human beings on this earth, because each and every one of us is an aspect of God in manifestation. Do you understand that? I'm God as a soccer player. You are God as a radio presenter. She's God as a chef. He's God as a rugby player. He's God as a criminal. He's God as a rapist. He's God as a serial killer. He's God as a child molester. It's hard to see it like that.
Yeah.
Because there's always the question, when a child is being raped, where was God? God was doing the raping. And God was experiencing being raped. God chose, God decided, God was there. Now, you can either be a God who knows itself to be God, or you can be a God in a valley of forgetfulness, where you've drowned yourself with so much lies about yourself that you think raping is manifestation of a divine deed, where you think killing somebody is a manifestation of a divine deed, where you think breaking into somebody's house while they are asleep and taking their possessions, you are thinking is a divine deed, because everything we do is godly. You need to decide, are you the God who forgot, or are you the God who remembered? Because if you are God who remembered, you wouldn't rape. But if you are God who forgot, you have all the power to rape. The same potential you have to do good is the same potential you have to do bad. The trick is decision and choice.
How much in control are you over decisions?
Totally in control. We are responsible for the choices we make. We are responsible for the decisions we end up having to live with. You make choices, but you live with decisions. Do you get that? You make choices, but you have to live with your decisions. Now look at the word decision. I like to break it down into two. My wife says, I'm a reminder of this old Greek man who breaks words down all the time. But if you look at decision, it has two words, die and ascension. So when you make a decision, it's either you're making a decision that's leading you to death, or you're making a decision that's leading you to life.
There's nothing in between.
There's nothing in between. It's die or ascension, decision. This is why you have to live with the decision you make. But the choice now is, what's your decision? I can put 10 different things here in front of you.
And those are the choices.
Those are the choices. Okay, I put an apple, a pear, a grape, a pineapple, a watermelon, a mango, and a kiwi. You have choices. But the truth is, no matter which fruit you pick there, you took a fruit. That's the decision. So choices are an illusion. This is why you can have so many, you can change your choice, change your mind all the time. But a decision you have to live with. We are in total control of the decisions and the choices we make. And they are all based on the lies or the truth that we tell ourselves. You cannot make a good decision if you tell yourselves lies all the time. You lie to yourself. You go to a club with your friends. Your whole body says, I want to be home. Everything in you says, I want to be in my own bed. But because my friends are here, I'm a good sport.
But a 6-year-old would say, I'm going home.
A 6-year-old would say, no, I'm going home now. Thing is, here's the thing. We thrive in communities. We are communal people. But in order for us to maintain the community, we need to lie to each other.
So it's an essential part of it.
We have to lie to each other. I have to sell you the best version of myself in order for you to be my friend. I have to sell her the best version of myself in order for her to be my partner. She has to sell the best version of herself in order for me to accept her. We are always lying to each other.
So that means there's nothing that someone can do after they're 7 years old to become their true self, unless otherwise the community wouldn't accept them.
Why do children lie? Self-preservation. They want to save themselves from either being punished, being ridiculed, being laughed at, right? That's why children lie. Why do adults lie? If children lie to preserve themselves, why do adults lie? They lie out of habit. They cannot but lie because they have accustomed themselves to it. They've seen how lies can help you survive and navigate the world. They've seen that lies can make you rich. They've seen that lies can get you the most beautiful girl at the club. They've seen that lies can open doors for you. So children lie to preserve themselves. Adults lie to preserve a world they want to perceive, which is not real.
Anyways, going back to the 5 points you've mentioned earlier, from that explanation, it seems that there isn't a single truth. And multiple truths can exist at the same time.
As many as there are human beings in this world, that's the amount of truths that you can find. But truth is one. Truth is universal. There are many versions of the truth, but truth is universal. Truth is one. And here's the truth. The truth is that which does not change, no matter where you go, no matter who you talk to. The sun was hot when our great-grandfathers were alive. The sun is still hot today. That is the truth. The ground is still solid today. That is true. Me and you are human beings. That is true. Truth is a state. It's not something you say. It's something you feel, you experience. You can just be truth. You cannot speak the truth. The truth is a state of being. It's something that you become, you experience, you live. Do you get what I'm saying? You cannot live a deceitful life and then expect to tell the truth. It's impossible. Even in your truth, you'd be lying. Here's an example. You come across me in a state of drunkenness. I'm drunk. And you are drinking while we come across each other. You are tipsy as well. I'm drunk, you are tipsy. And then you say to me, do you know alcohol is bad for you? You're not supposed to be drinking this much. How are you going to drive back home? How are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? And you're showing me all the truths about the negative effects of alcohol. But your truth at that time is a lie. Because you were drinking with me.
But couldn't it be a truth, but I'm not living it?
That's why it's a lie. It's based on what? Because you are not living it. You are not experiencing it.
So it's the do as I do.
Exactly. Even your truth at that point becomes a lie. Because you are saying it, but you're not doing it. It's like me now being known to be an African spirituality teacher. I teach African spirituality and I teach cultures and traditions. But there's not even a single tradition or a single cultural ritual or a single practice that I have actually engaged in. It's like me sitting here and talking about African spirituality to the camera, but when I go home, I'm a suburb boy. You understand? I've never slaughtered a goat. I've never slaughtered a cow. I've never done anything. All my children are cultureless, but I'm sitting here talking about African spirituality to the whole world. So even that truth that I speak is a lie because I'm not living it.
You're not living it. So that means if you're raising kids and you tell them, you know, it's good for you to sleep at 10 p.m. and you sleep at 1 a.m., that's a lie.
No, that's not a lie. That's discipline to the children. Why is the child awake at 1 a.m.? What are they doing?
So that means there are categories of what do as I do apply and, you know,
okay.
Do as I say.
There are issues of discipline. There are issues of raising children, you know. Raising children, you don't raise children by saying, I want you in the house by 6 o'clock every day. And then you come back home at 11 o'clock drunk every night. Do you understand the difference there? But it's bedtime, go to bed, go and rest. I can carry on and do whatever I do until late in the evening or early morning. I'm at home. My children are safe. In fact, me being awake at that time is actually me having a watchful eye over them. So that's not an hypocrisy there. The hypocrisy is, I want you back home at this time and I don't want you to be doing silly things in the streets. And then I come home at 12 midnight drunk every night. Do you see the difference there?
So what I'm thinking is there isn't a clear guide of you know, this is what it means every single time. I think it's also defined according, say, to the life or the responsibilities.
Listen, in Africa, we don't view everybody the same. And because of that, we are not expecting the same responsibilities from everyone. A child is a child. So we are not expecting a child to act like an adolescent. And once the child becomes an adolescent, we do not want childish behaviors anymore from that child. Hence, there are rites of passage in our cultures, right? Well, in all cultures, even in European and West Indian and whatever, there are rites of passage, right? In the Hebrew, they call it the bar mitzvah. When the child is going into their puberty, their adolescent stage around 13, they attend the bar mitzvah and they start now to be taught their cultural essences, their laws, their traditions, their histories, stricter than it was before. And then after that process of going through their bar mitzvah, or the women that their bat mitzvah, after they go through that, now they are responsible members of society. As much as in our cultures, after you go through your adolescence rituals, you go through your manhood or womanhood rituals, your initiations now, right? Now, pre-initiation, you did not have responsibilities of the post-initiation. Pre-initiation, you are still considered a relative child. But now you've been through this initiation, you were told and taught, we can't expect childish behaviors from you anymore. So when you were a child, we used to smack you when you are wrong. Yay, don't do that anymore. When you're an adolescent, we use the stick. When you are post-initiation, we use your pocket. How do we use your pocket? You are going to be fined. Either a goat or a cow or a sheep, something that is worth something to you. You're going to have to lose it. Do you understand? Because now, do you see that these three people, they're all being disciplined, but differently because of their age group and their responsibility. So the child, you can't take a big stick and beat a child like you're crazy. A baby, don't do that. And you don't even hit hard. Yay. The child now is 13 years old. You cannot you smack this fool. You understand? But now this child is 37 years old. You're going to slap him? You're going to fight back. So you take something of value from them, right? As payment, as a fine for what they did. And this is our cultures. This is how we kept our societies in order, right? So it's not about truth is relative to the situation. Truth is truth universally. And this is how you know truth. You can only live in truth. You can't tell the truth. You can't listen to the truth. You can only feel it by being it. Do you get what I'm saying? That's the truth. And we cannot sit and debate the truth. Because if you feel it and you know it, I feel it, I know it. There's nothing to debate.
I think this might be a tangent, but can we debate right or wrong?
Yes, very much so. Let's take Adolf Hitler. And all he did, what history taught us about Hitler. Was he right or was he wrong?
History? Wrong.
He was wrong. Okay, now, if you would be a judge now, and you'd take Hitler either to heaven or hell, where would you take him?
Clearly hell.
Clearly hell. All right. Good enough. Good enough. What if I come at you like this? What if Hitler was a product of his society? What if Hitler was a product of the mass political movements of the time that were preaching hate, that were preaching separation, that were preaching segregation, that were preaching that this group is better than that group? And it just so happened to fall on a mind that was gullible enough to take it all in and act it out. What if Hitler was a spokesperson of a greater society? What if Hitler was a manifestation of our state of mind? What we constantly do to ourselves every day. Can you be able to look at it from that perspective?
You can. But then the question would be, do we have free will? The idea to say that even if we are raised in a society that supports ideas that we don't think are right ideas, but don't we still have the capability to make our own choices in as much as the environment influences us greatly?
25 people, children, are in the same class. 15 of them fail. 5 of them get 80% and above. The rest are 60s, 50s. Was the teacher the problem? Was the curriculum the problem? Was the textbook the problem? Or was it the children? And their capacity to either learn or comprehend.
Well, don't you need more context for that?
Let's take more context. We are teaching a biology class. 3% of the class passes. 60% of the class fails. The rest in between are 40%ers. Same teacher, same textbook, same curriculum. Who created this divide? Is it the teacher? Is it the textbook? Is it the curriculum? Or is it the children's capacity and ability to comprehend?
Since it's same teacher, same textbook, same classroom, it will be the students because they all received the same
education.
Right.
So in our societies, we are all influenced and stimulated by the same things. But it's choice and decision that says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not participating in that. I don't want to be part of that. There are 3 things here. One is responsibility. The second one is accountability. And the third one is availability. So the 3% that passed, they were responsible. They came to class all the time and they did their work. They were accountable because they always brought their homework to the teacher to be checked and corrected. And they were available. They were always in class physically at school. The 60% that failed, 40% of them were hardly in class. They were bunkers. You found them in the toilets smoking. You found them with their girlfriends in the school courtyards and whatever. So this is why they failed. The other percentage that's in the middle, they were fascinated by this movement that's happening. They were not really in class. They were in class, but they were more fascinated about what you did on the weekend, not what the teacher's talking about. So now, in a world where we are influenced by so much, good and bad, Hitlers are created because of 1, capacity. 2, ability to comprehend. Remember, Hitler was not the brightest, sharpest tool in the shed. If you study psychological reviews about him, he was not really an intelligent person. But now here's the thing about people who are not intelligent. Your Adolf Hitlers. If you can give them an idea, they run with it. And nothing is going to deter them because that's the idea you gave to them. There's a joke an old school teacher of mine used to tell, Francois Smith, they took a canoe, a small boat, and they put it on a river. And they said to this person, you must row across. And this person started rowing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Until they got to the other side. When they got to the other side, they opened up his head, took out the left side of his brain. So only had the right brain. And then they told him to go across again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When he got to the other side, they replaced the left brain and they took out the right brain. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When he got to the other side, they took out both sides of the brain now. So there was no brain in his head. And he was told to go back across. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Een boer maak 'n plan. 'n ander mens maak dit werk. That's a statement that is so popular in South Africa. The white man can make a plan, but he can't make it work. So other people have to come and make it work. Because when they took out both sides of the brain, this man suddenly spoke Afrikaans. Right? Now look at the history of South Africa. The Afrikaners, Dutch, got here first, before the British. But who owns the mines? The British. Who owns the vast amounts of land? The British. Who made deals with monarchies and royals? The British. So the Africans got here first, and then the British took over from them. But the Africans were used to oppress. Were they wrong, or were they victims like Hitler? The voortrekkers had to move around South Africa all because the Anglos, the English, were pushing them out of their farms. South Africa went through apartheid from 1948 to 1992, right? A 40-year period of apartheid. A lot of us got backlashes from that and wounds from that and. A lot of our brothers are in prison for life because in their minds, they are in prison wrongly, because when they were arrested, they were fighting for a freedom. They considered themselves freedom fighters. And how did they freedom fight? They used to go to the white people's houses, break in, kill, rape, maim, and steal. And when they got arrested, they said, no, they were political prisoners. Right? So apartheid made them to become criminals. There was a whole era of amakenza. Criminals, like hard criminals. And all of them, no, they had ANC affiliations, they had PAC affiliations, they had APLA affiliations, they had MK affiliations. That's where they got their guns. So now, were they wrong? Because now it was apartheid that made them to be like that, right? So now, what I'm saying is, wrong or right is based on one, what type of community are you in? Two, what are the ideals surrounding your community? And three, who are your leaders in that community? Are you aware of them, or are they working from behind the curtain? Because that's what's going to determine right and wrong for you. 21 years ago, it wasn't common to see women walking around in trousers in the streets. Today you see women walking around in tights in the street. What happened? What changed? Our mothers would never walk out in trousers in public. Today, it's them walking around in tights in public. Mothers, what changed? Back in the day, you'd never see a grown man walk around in shorts in a public space. Today, you see fathers with cheeky pants and push-ins, flops, bathroom flops, walking around in the mall. What changed? When I was growing up, you wouldn't stand in the streets and talk to a girl while adults are coming. Today, these kids, they do whatever. They don't care. What changed? This is what changed. If you see something long enough, you end up believing it. A lie that's repeated 10 times starts becoming truth. So, the movies we were watching, the content we are absorbing, the ads, the fashion. Eventually, today's society sees all of those things as normal. But they're not normal. Because you've seen it so much on a Tyler Perry movie, now you suddenly want to become Madea in the house. Because you've seen it so much. Until your mind, your brain, believed it to be true. Right? So repetition is our downfall. This is why our society, this is why now I say to you, Hitler can't really be blamed, because what was being repeated in his unintelligent mind since he was 13 years old when he joined the SS. They noticed this boy, Ugutilo, if you can put in information in his head, he's just going to spit it out as it is. This is why Hitler, when you study orators, great orators of history, public speakers, you are going to study Hitler. You cannot but study Hitler, because he's one of the world's greatest orators, public speakers, because he spoke with a passion that everybody could take in. But he did not understand what he was saying. He was just regurgitating what he was told to say. Now, did Hitler take a gun and go around killing people?
His words were the gun.
No. Heinrich Himmler and the secret police, they were the instrument behind the murders and the deaths. All Hitler was obsessed with was artwork. That's it. He was chasing a legend. He was chasing the spear of destiny. He wanted the spear that stabbed Christ. He wanted the Ark of the Covenant. He was obsessed with relics and art. Hitler killed no one. But history now has given us a forced perspective of right and wrong. What is right today was wrong yesterday. All right, the ANC government was fighting with the apartheid government, saying, no, this oppression is wrong, and this and this and this and this. Who is oppressing us now? Is it still the same white government? Or is it our very own freedom fighters who are looting money, stealing billions by the day, while the rest of the country is going hungry? So who's the oppressor now? Perspective is a dangerous field to play in, because it can be manipulated. You understand? So it's very dangerous to play around with ideas of good and bad. I don't like playing around with that. I prefer truth.
I like the idea of repeated lies becoming truths. In a world where you're constantly seeing, hearing propagandas and ideologies are being constantly pushed to you, right? And I think it's very hard for you to resist for such a long time if you're constantly being bombarded with the same propaganda over and over again. And so in such a world, how do you become your own self?
The 5 questions. Who am I? Who am I? I am. So I'm God. First and foremost, I'm God. Not a God. I am God. That's who I am. Why am I here? I'm here to manifest my godliness. And how am I going to do that? By doing my godly works. If I'm an artist, I must become the best artist and portray true meaning through my art. If I'm a footballer, I must become a Ballon d'Or I must become the best footballer in the world. This is me manifesting self. Where am I going? I'm going back to the essence where I came from. I'm going back into myself, back into the mind of the Creator, in order to give birth to other more talented soccer players, other greater artists. Do you get what I'm saying? This is the evolution of the human species. This generation takes where this generation ended and takes it further. And then it's the responsibility of the next generation to take it even further, not down. So, in a world where we are constantly bombarded with lies and propaganda and this, how now do you avoid all of that? Self-knowledge. Because if you know yourself, if you know the truth shall set you free. Let's change that statement. We all know that Christian statement, right? And ye shall find the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Let's change that a bit and say, and ye shall find yourself, and thyself shall set you free. Because yourself is your truth. Do you understand? So now, if you can look at it from that perspective, and then you can understand why Christ said, be in the world, but not of the world. Be in this situation, but don't become a part of it. Don't let it influence you. Don't learn from it. Let it learn from you. Right? There are two things. You can either learn from your environment, or your environment can learn from you. Which one do you choose? It's good to learn from a good environment, but it's bad to learn from a negative environment. It's good to influence an environment positively, but it's something else to influence an environment negatively. So, how do you avoid that bombardment of propaganda and lies? Speak your truth. Everybody knows the truth. Even a child knows the truth. When a person hears the truth, everything in them says, yeah, but that's true. I don't need to convince you when I'm telling you a truth. The moment I have to convince you is because I'm trying to make you see something that you don't see already. That's why I have to convince you.
So that means something cannot be your truth. It needs to be our truth.
Yeah. There's no such thing as many truths. No, it's my truth, your truth, and the truth's truth. No. Truth is truth. Truth is one. If a person can stand in front of 10,000 people and speak the truth, everybody's going to say, And then once they start telling lies, people will start looking at you funny now. What are you saying? They're trying to understand you now. They're trying to analyze what you're saying. And then now you have to be a very good convincer to turn their minds around. Because now they're already questioning what you're saying. But when you speak the truth, everybody says, yeah, but that's true. And then you either have a choice to retaliate or to accept. Somebody is going to listen to what we are saying today and say, he was high. Yeah, he heard the truth, but because it was not comfortable with him, he had to paint that with what I smoke, or what I drink, or what I eat, or how I'm dressed, or do you understand? And then we get ad hominem syndrome like that. Ad hominems, people who now forget the truth you're talking about, but yeah, why are you wearing a black shirt?
Right.
What? Was the truth going to sound different if I was wearing a pink shirt? Do you get it? So, truth is truth. And we can't avoid the truth. We can't hide from the truth. Everybody knows the truth. Because the truth is one. Everything else, why it has to be repeated all the time, is because it's not the truth. That's why it needs repetition, so that the mind can finally find a space for it and accept it as a reality. But the truth is the truth. So, find yourself, speak your truth. every lie that goes around the world will never affect you. Going back to your question, is it possible for someone to find a perfect balance? I'm saying yes again. It's possible to find a perfect balance. And a perfect balance doesn't mean a stress-free life, doesn't mean no problems are going to come up, doesn't mean you're not going to find yourself in troubles or having questions that you can't. No. It means when that happens, you accept it as it is. Listen, what is stress? Is it the event or how you think about the event after the event has already happened?
It's after it has happened.
Exactly. So stress is self-created. It's the stories you tell yourself after the issue has already passed. You're still holding on to it. A problem is only a problem now. And once it's solved, it's not a problem anymore. A problem becomes a crisis once it's elongated now and not solved. So we like to embrace our problems and stretch them out for as long as possible. And then we call it traumas. The event happened 10 years ago. You're still holding on to that.
So when we spoke about the fact that, you can be doing things simply because your parents or your grandparents were doing, right? Would we say that it becomes embodied in your genes?
It's genetic imprints, yeah.
And if it's genetic imprints, is it that you are still holding it, or it has become part of who you are?
Remember, who are your ancestors? They are you. You are your ancestors. You are your great-grandfather sitting here right now. You are your great-great-grandmother sitting here right now. You are the great-great-grand-uncle you've never known. You are that great-great-great-great-grandfather that nobody in your family ever spoke about. You are your people sitting here right now. So yes, it's you still holding on to it.
How do you let it go?
John the Baptist came to my mind. For some reason, John the Baptist just popped out. Repent and be born again. That's it.
How? I mean, I'm listening to this going like, oh, you know what? I've been told that my great-grandfather used to knock the table twice. And I'm knocking the table twice now and I want to stop.
Not to sound Christian, but to repent and be born again means go back to your patent. Go back to your patent. Go back to your original source document. Go back to yourself and be born again. Now, what is being born again? Take that habit, understand it. This is beneficial. Let me carry on with it. This is not beneficial. Let me stop it. That's all it takes. I said to my students a few days ago, when they asked me the same question, but then how? And I said, how is the biggest lie you tell yourself? How? You know exactly how. You just want me to tell you. So that if it fails, you're going to say, no, but you said. But you know exactly what you need to do. You're a liar, right? You know you have to stop lying. Tell the truth. You're lazy, right? You know what you have to do. Stand up and do some work. You're ignorant, right? You know exactly what you need to do. Take a book and read. Everybody knows exactly how to get out of their mess. Every single person. The problem is, How long do you want to hold on to it? That's where the question is. It's not how, it's when.
It's start taking responsibility.
There we go. So this is why it's so easy to have Jesus as a Messiah, to have Haile Selassie as a God, to have Buddha as a master, to have Abba Ayalew as your teacher. It's so easy for us to project our responsibility to the next person. It gives us enough time to do everything else. And not having to account. Because you'd never taught me that before. Yeah, but did I need to teach you that? Accountability, responsibility. Let me say something. A version of the Trinity, or what the world people call the Trinity, the triune God, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, this and that. And no, these things are actually simple concepts. Responsibility, accountability, and availability. Responsibility, God the Father, God the Creator, God the Source. Accountability, God the Son, God the Sustainer, God the Preserver. And the Holy Spirit, accountability, the ever-presence. Do you understand? Now, this has nothing to do with a God to be worshipped in heaven or in the sky. These are principles for human perfection. You have to be responsible for everything you do because you are creating while you are doing it. You have to be accountable for everything you've created and preserve it and nurture it. And you have to be available in your creation.
That is so fascinating, because I'm thinking one of the things that gives life meaning is the fact that someone is actually creating something.
Exactly. We are creators. We are constantly creating. So we are God the Father who creates. We are God the Son who preserves and sustains. We are God the Holy Spirit who is ever present.
Just thinking about it, I mean, I thought about it in terms of work, but now the same thing applies in terms of family.
Same thing in entertainment.
That is so fascinating. Because I mean, I think when you hear such concepts, you go like, yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna listen to that or try and understand it because I'm not spiritual, you know, or because I'm not religious. But then again, it's like stories that we tell ourselves.
The stories that we tell ourselves. That is the Trinity. That is God. These three things: responsibility, accountability, and availability. Because these three things lead you to now three other things, which is the Word of God. And the Word became flesh and lived amongst us. That's the Bible says so. Let's go to psychology now. If these 3 points are up, responsibility, accountability, and availability, your thoughts will be controlled. Your work will be seen. And everybody is going to remember your name based on what you did. It's not religious concepts that we're talking about here. These are humanistic issues that were written in coded messages, in parables, and in stories in every single culture in the world. These three things lead you to three other things: continuous evolution, constant innovation, and practical application. Continuous evolution. God the Father is always creating new worlds. Constant innovation. God the Son is sustaining and preserving. Practical application. Availability. The Holy Spirit fulfilling the works of God. Now, did you get it? This is called intelligence. Continuous evolution, constant innovation, practical application. It goes hand in hand with responsibility, accountability, and availability. And this becomes the two triangles that create the gem of alchemy, the Star of David, which become now the object of your focus, what you call God. God is the object of your focus, and your thoughts are the angels and the choirs around him in heaven. That which you focus on is your God, because your God is you.
Why do people gather to pray?
People gather to pray because somebody told them that people have to gather to pray. People gather to perform rituals. People gather for ceremonies. People gather to sing in order to activate a certain energy frequency. Listen, everything in the world is connected through a silent hum, an inaudible sound, an invisible chain. If you go outside and sit in the bush and you hear the trees rustling, the birds singing, insects chirping, and it all sounds like a song. A very, very coordinated song. This is why you can sit and even fall asleep and relax in such places. The river running there, it all blends together beautifully like a song. This is why people come together and they start singing. When people sing together, the logical brain is there thinking, okay, here's the melody, here's the words. And once we all catch the melody, once we all catch the words, our spirits start vibrating now. Our spirit starts to rise now. Ecstasy now becomes our experience. It was a beautiful song. Even people who are watching the people who are singing get affected by that music.
Right.
Because it's vibration, it's frequency. So people come together naturally because of that vibrational frequency. People come together to pray to silence that vibrational frequency. Whereas it should be activated. So this is why in religions, in traditional ceremonies, in soldiers, in the army, there's always a song. There's always a march. There's always a unifying force that brings us all together.
What is the medium of transmission? And I'm asking this because there are times when you're on a call with someone, for example, no one is speaking, but you can feel it as if they're there with you. You can feel their energy.
Remember, telephone comes from telepathy. Remote communication. It's a natural thing for humans to communicate telepathically. We took that technology, materialized it into a telephone, a remote vision, television. We have people who sit here and see other places, see other people, see while sitting here. That's exactly what the television does. So everything you see in the world, a camera is based on the human eye. The mic is based on the human voice box. Everything you see is based on human, something human. Even a caterpillar, a bulldozer, its scooping hand is based on how a man would naturally dig with his hand. A car is based on the internal organs of a human being in the engine.
Airplanes, birds.
Airplanes are based on birds, and everything is based on something else.
So it's nature.
It's nature.
We're trying to transform nature.
That's it. We are trying to harness nature to create nature. That's it. We are creators. If Calvin Klein was never born, would we have a clothing range called Calvin Klein today?
I'm thinking no, but we'll have a clothing line.
We'd have clothes, yes, but not Calvin Klein. If, who's this, Daniel Hatcher or Hector. If he was never born, we'd never have Daniel Hector clothes in the world. But you'd have clothes, different clothes. So, Calvin Klein was a creator. Until today, we are still experiencing his creations. Is he not immortal? Is he not living forever? Louis Strauss. We are still seeing his genes in the streets today.
I don't remember where I came across this, but there was this idea that someone was trying to explain why philosophers, for example, don't have kids. And the idea was that, they don't have kids because they leave their legacy in the work that they do and in their writings. So I would suppose that's the same thing. It applies.
It's the same thing applied.
The fact that, you have to create something, and, whether it's babies or airplanes or jeans, you're creating.
Or a pen. I mean, the man who created the first big pen, do you think he's still alive? But his children are eating off that legacy. Every year, big pens are being bought. And that money still goes to the same family. So it's legacy.
I'm imagining even if the company were to go bankruptcy and it's closed, but the invention that they brought would still
carry on.
Applied.
Yeah. It would still carry on.
Oh man, everyone should get out there and create something.
Everybody should create something. This is why now the industrial revolutions killed innovation and intelligence in the world. If you look now, everybody's flocking to the cities and the homelands are left barren and empty. There's so much potential there. So much potential. But we are all crammed in Joburg, in cities, in small apartment buildings, with streets full of traffic. Whereas there's vast amounts of land in the homelands and nobody cares about that. How many engineers came to the big cities, got their degrees, got their experience in their work, but never went back home to develop their homes? How many doctors came to the cities, qualified as doctors, worked, became professors, but never went back home to open clinics and free public hospitals? How many of our educated brothers and sisters leave home to go and work abroad? What happens now to us? We are selling our skill, we are selling our intelligence, we are selling our creativity for nothing. I was watching a video last night, a video about Chinese kids. Chinese kids?
Is this the one where they're in baby class and they're just building stuff and they're cooking?
That's so beautiful.
I know.
That's so beautiful.
No, I loved that video. I'm like, yeah, that's what we need to be doing. I'm like,
that's so beautiful. I even sent it to a friend of mine who you have to watch this.
Someone was like, there was a kid who was creating, I think, like cow something it was just amazing.
Like, you see those kids?
So I think you can give context to what we're speaking about.
Those kids, others work in the garden. They're making their own food. From the garden, they harvest their own food, cook their own food.
Yeah, you have someone cooking.
Others are learning how to put together electronics. Others are learning how to build.
But for context, they're like, I think 2 to 4 years
old. No, it's 2 to 4 years old. No, there's no 10 years old there.
So young, yeah.
They're babies. Our babies, no, give him cocomelon.
Give him the phone, he'll shut up.
Give him the phone, he'll shut up. Our babies. When I saw that, I said, this is what we need. These children are being taught to be industrious from when they start to walk. That thing can't even talk, but it can cook you a meal. It can hardly stand on its own 2 feet, but it can plant spinach for you and feed chickens. Our children run from chickens at 28 years old. My wife's sister, love you bestie, she can't stand a chicken. And she's 23 years old. She can't stand a chicken. She can't stand a bird. She can't stand a dog. She can't stand a goat. Nothing. If it moves, But those kids know how to farm. By 5 years old, they're running their own farms. Imagine that child at 37.
I can leave them in the forest.
You can leave them anywhere. Our children, my son, he's 15 now. That boy. If you want him to do something, you literally have to stand behind him with a stick. Because he will start it, and then his phone will go off, and then he's gone. Gone. So, every time I work, I pull him. Here, do this, do that, do that, do that. And if I sit down and turn out, he's gone. Now I'm thinking, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? If the Chinese can teach their children those skills, why didn't we see that our children have fully capable brains at 2 years old? You talk to this thing like it's a toy. He's even 15. 21. 47 years. 58 years. Oh, come on. What's wrong with us? There's something wrong with how we view ourselves first, which leads us to viewing society very warped. Very warped. Instead of encouraging our children to be industrious, instead of encouraging our people to be entrepreneurs, we go on worldwide campaigns for job creation. Hey, we want to employ. Hey, unemployment. Hey, what the blood clot you mean you are unemployed if you've got 2 hands and a brain? Like, what do you mean you are unemployed? No, there is no work. What happened to your hands? What happened to your hands? There's a woman who sells herbs here in Joburg. She sells herbs, medicines, and she sits down in a dirty overall the whole day selling her herbs. When you see her, you think, hey, this poor girl, this poor woman, is dirty, ininan. If that woman can take you to a house in the village, you dream about living in such a house. This woman has her own cows, her own farm, her own goats. Each child of hers has their own house in the yard. And I mean own house in the same yard. When I mean house, I mean you have a 2-bedroom, a dining room, a kitchen, and a bathroom in your own house. And your brother has the same, your sister has the same, and the other one has the same, and she has her own house in the same space. She has a guest house for her guests, same setup, fully finished. And you'd see her sitting on the street selling herbs and sticks and think, this woman, Thing is, we don't teach our children the essence of hard work or the benefits of hard work. We teach our children, get a job, get employed, get a salary, let them tax you, let the bank take interest. You understand? buy a car on credit, buy your house on credit, take your children to school, an expensive school on credit, to go and learn 1+1. Where you could be paying 500 a month for your children to learn 1+1, you'd rather go and pay 35,000 a month for the same 1+1. No, because it's in a better environment. It's in a what. But now, at the end of the day, we are creating servants. We are creating people who are going to perpetuate a system of enslavement. There's nothing free about a person waking up in the morning at 7 o'clock and without the internal need to do it. But now I have to be at work by 8. I have to rush through traffic. You are going to tell me when to have my tea time and when my tea time ends. You are going to tell me when to stop and go and have lunch.
And how many times I should eat per day.
And when I must come back to work. And when must I... Now, I came back from lunch. Now I'm in the flow. My juices are up. My creative juices are up. And I'm working. And then you come back. Hey, time out. Go home. No, but I'm still... No, we're locking. Now that I'm getting into... I have to stop. I have to come back tomorrow, start again. Slavery, I think if we would listen to our forerunners, the people who went before us, who fought this struggle that we think we're still carrying on with, if we listen to what they were saying, Steve Biko says, the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Steve Biko says again in another place, this racial war is what is bringing us down. It's not about white people, it's not about black people, it's about the human race. He says there will come a time when we will be able to gift Africa the most precious gift ever. And that is a human face. We should stop looking at each other politically. We should start looking at each other from racial lines. We should stop looking at each other from economic depravity or economic successes. We should look at each other as human beings. And in our humanity, we will see that industriousness is the only way to freedom. Employment is not. Industry is what? There's a problem here in South Africa, and we were talking recently with my mother-in-law, Atigimi. I was saying to her, the one thing that irritates me the most is how people take land and then build shacks, right? And then build a community of shacks there, and they don't develop that land. And she says to me, no, but people's strengths are not the same, Financially, people are not equally financially able to do that. And I said, no, it's true. It's true. How much does it cost to cut down a tree? How much does it cost to cut grass and make a roof? How much does it cost to take soil, mix it with mud, and build? Like our ancestors did. It's a stronger house. It's more durable. It's weather resistant. And it's a solid structure. Now you're living in a corrugated iron shack for 15 years. You are raising children there. There's trees right around you. There's ground, there's stones. Why couldn't you build industry? Do you understand when I say industry? And half of these people living in these shacks wake up, climb on the back of a truck, and go and build houses somewhere else for other people. They work as builders. Some of them work as farmers, but they no garden in their own backyards. But every morning they wake up and go and farm in a white man's farm. When they come back, they don't even think, Uguti, let me open up a space in my own backyard and plant the very same thing I'm planting there. And then maybe I can leave my children selling here while I go to work. A lot of them wake up and go and sew clothes at tailor shops. But they don't come back and create their own clothing here at home. Work should come to an end. Industry is how Africans and everybody around the world used to survive.
And by industry, do you mean creation?
Creation. Being industrious. Using our hands and what we have available to us. You understand? Everything that we have at our disposal. I mean, look. It's so easy to be a millionaire. You sell 1 million objects for R1 each. How much have you got? You buy a packet of sweets and you sell them for R1 each. And 1 million sweets. When those 1 million sweets are done, how much do you have in your account? R1 million. It is so easy to make 1 million. But people have this thing, Yoguti. Imagine me sitting there all day waiting for people to come in R1. Imagine people see me doing this. Imagine people It is so easy. I was saying to some of my students this weekend, this week, the hardest thing, when you really need to work hard to achieve, do you know what it is? Poverty. You really have to work hard to be poor in this world. In this world, you really have to apply supernatural effort to experience poverty in this world. It's impossible to be poor in this world. To experience poverty in this world, it's impossible. You have to work hard to experience poverty. Very hard. First of all, what determines poverty? If you go to bed with 2 slices of bread with cheese, and I go to bed with 2 slices of bread dry, who's experiencing poverty between the two of us? Who's poor? Who's going to bed hungry?
You've both eaten?
So how now do you judge poverty? Because I don't have a BMW? Because I don't wear a 7,000 rand shoe? Because I don't live in Sentin? That says I'm poor.
Or because I don't buy milk from the mall, I milk my own cow.
Okay. I'm poor. Because I don't pay rates and taxes. I live in the homelands in my own hand-built rondavel. I'm poor. Because I don't go to Woolies to buy spinach and cabbage. I take it from the ground. I'm poor. You have to work really hard to be a poor person in this world. I mean, to go and sit all day in the streets begging, that's hard work. To sit every day and watch people doing things, and you just sitting and watching them work, that takes really hard work. That takes dedication, my brother. You must be super dedicated to sit 10 years and watch people go to work and you are doing nothing. You have to work really hard to be poor in this world, because this world has a potential for anything. If you plant a seed, tomorrow you come back, you have a whole tree there. If you create something, somebody's going to see it and say, wow, I like that. Could you do it for me? You've already started a business. Wake up in the morning and clean your own garden. And then your neighbor, because he's too busy going to work, he doesn't have time to clean his garden. He's going to ask you. And then you're going to feel insulted, right? What does he think of me? He thinks I can be his garden boy. No. He's going to work. He can't do in his own garden, but he's willing to pay you for something that you're already doing. But because people have this tendency to overlook reality because they are blinded by their egos, right? So I'll never wash people's shoes. But if I washed 100 shoes a day for 50 rand each, how much did I make? I'm going to bed with 5,000 rand and nobody could have given me that for free. I just sat and washed shoes. That's all I did.
Finding a way to create value.
That is
people
industry.
Pay you for that.
That is industry. That is being industrious. That is being creators. That is being godly. That is spirituality. Spirituality is based on 7 principles. 1, governance. How do you govern yourself? What do you do to govern yourself? Are you ill-governed? Are you properly governed? Well-governed? How is your government of self? Because that will determine how you govern your space. And that will determine how you govern your resources. And that will determine how you govern your human resources, your family, your friends, your business partners. That will determine how you govern everything. How you govern yourself. 2, aggregate culture, which is known as agriculture. To aggregate is to take different things, put them together to create one thing. It is the culture of taking different things and creating something new. That is agriculture. If you can govern yourself, you will be able to govern your resources and you will be agriculturous or agricultural. You will be able to put together the knowledge from that book, the knowledge from his lips, the knowledge from that show, and come together with a new way that is beneficial for you. That is agriculture. Agriculture is not about planting food only. It's about harvesting thoughts from each other, harvesting knowledge from books, planting knowledge. That's agriculture, which leads you to the 3rd. If you can govern yourself, you are going to be able to handle agriculture. And that will lead you to an educational point where now you are starting to learn about everything around you. You become educated now. Rites of passage, initiation. Right? And once you get through that, your eyes are open now to the idea of enterprise. What is it that I enter? And what is the price that I receive from that? If me and you get into business, why? And what is it that we want to achieve? If me and you start a couple, we get into a couple, a marriage and whatever. What is it that we want to achieve? If me and you get into a friendship, that is enterprise. What is it that we seek to achieve? What is the core reason behind our friendship? But if we are not educated properly, we are going to get into wrong enterprises.
Educated fools. Julius Nyerere, who was the first president of Tanzania, I think he was trying to implement Ujamaa policy in Tanzania, right? And it was a policy of self-reliance. It failed, unfortunately. But I think for those who are implementing that policy to themselves, so saying, oh, I'm living in acres of land, planting my own crops, having my own kettles, whatever. I think the stage that we fail to move as Africans is to industrialize, to scale it.
That's it.
But I don't think we need to live that way. I think I personally feel that you need to live a life where you're able to provide for yourself. Meal. you're able to clothe yourself, you're able to build your own stuff, you're able to fix your own stuff, right? You're creating. It's a process of creating. And then when you do that so well for yourself, then you scale it and do it for other people, and they pay you for that.
That is industry. There's a clan in South Africa called Ohatebe or Pungane. One of their clan names is Mafuza Fulele, because they were thatchers. They were very skilled thatchers. They took grass and created thatch roofs of different designs. So because their clan was known for this, other people used to hire them to come and do their thatch. And it spread like that. Industry, thing is, right now we've been too much westernized. We are colonized in our minds. Like Steve Biko said, the mind of the oppressed is the most powerful weapon in the hands of the oppressor. Because now we're starting to think like these people who oppressed us. And now because we're thinking like them, we're thinking from a catch-up perspective. We are not speaking on a level. We are catching up while they are ahead of the game. But if we had our own industry, I mean, there's so much you could do on your own. There's so much we could do as a community. This is where now our enterprise becomes the issue. Because we fail to educate ourselves properly. We fail to take responsibility for our agriculture. We fail to govern ourselves. You see? Because once now we can follow those 4 steps, we lead to the 5th step, which is entertainment. What is it that we entertain ourselves with? I mean, if we were industrious and we were farmers in our own space, how would we entertain ourselves? Harvest festivals. Would brew beers from our crops, would cook and celebrate and entertain ourselves. How do we entertain ourselves now? By leaving home and going into a dungeon with loud music and dim lights, right? We call it clubs and we call it parties and we call it this and that. But that entertainment, what is it that we are attaining from what we are entering? Entertainment is enter to attain. So you entered here to attain what? We'd have a different perspective of entertainment, which will lead us to a different perspective of innovation and science and technology. How we apply our intelligence in order to make our lives better, which will ultimately lead us to our spirituality.
And again, spirituality doesn't mean that you don't adopt technology.
No, technology is spiritual. It's innovation. It's development. It's breaking away from stagnation. Remember, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So once there is stagnation, demons are going to fester. Negativity is going to become a reality. But if we keep moving, we keep innovating, we keep developing, there's no time to sit and accumulate negative energy. We're always moving forward, always progressing. You see? Stagnation is the problem. Industry is the solution. And spirituality is that. How do we come together to make our lives better? That's it.
How do we raise kids?
You don't.
They raise themselves?
You allow them to raise you.
How is that?
You don't know this person. This person came through you.
Not from me?
Not from you. Through you. This person's older than you. Way older than you. Nobody owns children. The biggest mistake is to think you can raise your children. And this is why parents fumble and make so much mistakes. They're trying to raise children based on their traumas and their experiences and their shortfalls. You don't raise children. Let the monkeys fly.
So now
give them a space, discipline, boundaries, but let the little devils be, man.
They're their own person.
They're their own person. 3 of my children, totally different in character, totally different in thought pattern, and each one is independent in their own way.
So I guess then that'll be hard for you to say, this is how I want to raise my kid, or this is how I expect them to turn out.
What you are actually saying is, I don't want to repeat the mistakes my parents made with me. So you're not raising your children, you are actually vicariously healing your wounds by hurting them now. You let children grow. Look at cows. A calf is born now, and then the mother pushes it, and then it's and then the mother pushes it, and it's Tomorrow morning, the mother is going there, you must follow. If you don't follow, you're going to die there. And then you see the little calf staggering behind the mother until a week later it's running, until next week it's running ahead of the mother.
But I think, again, we can't avoid the fact that the life that you live has a huge influence on how they would want to grow up, or how they'll want to be.
This is why I say to you, a cow would push the child and then go on its way. The child is going to follow that way until it finds its own feet, and then it runs and leaves the mother behind. If we can learn from nature, nature is going to teach us. You don't raise children, you nurture them, you protect them, and you give them a push once in a while. Test your limits. Do it. Let's see. This overprotective, no, my child did it. You're killing these monkeys. You're making them useless adults, protected adults, children who are scared to even take a risk. Let these people go and be. Let them find themselves. And then they'll come back and tell you that, no, this is who I am. My son has told me he wants to be a pirate. Now he's not a pirate anymore. He wants to play rugby. Now he's not into rugby anymore. He wants volleyball. Now, if you want to go to Mars in a red underpants, do that. I'll support you. Just promise me one thing. When you come back from Mars, you also bring me a red underpants. Come back and tell me stories about what you saw, who were you with, and what you did.
Would the push be in areas where you think what they're about to do isn't right or isn't good?
Yeah.
Or it's going to harm them? And you're like, no.
Okay. If it's going to harm them, you don't push your child into danger. You protect your child, but you let the child experience that danger.
Fire is hot, don't touch it. You want to touch
exactly. You want to touch it? Touch
Go
it.
for it.
Go for it. Yeah, just stand 2 steps behind him.
And then I'm going to take you to the hospital.
Exactly. That's what parents are supposed to do. Leave your child to walk 2 steps behind them. So that when they fall into a hole, you quickly grab them out and say, you see? Don't go there now. Try another way. But if you are going to go ahead and saying, hey, don't come here, it's a hole, that child is going to want to see what's inside that hole.
I think the hardest part is that we always want to be in control.
That's the problem. But you're not even in control of yourself. Why would you want to control a child when you can't control yourself? We fail to control ourselves. How then will you control another human being? Because this person is a fully developed human being. It's just that you came earlier than them. That's it.
And usually make the assumption that they're clean slate.
That's not a clean slate. My daughter's 6 years old right now. She just turned 6, my youngest. She'd listen to you arguing and listen to you talking about whatever you're talking about, and then she'd say, okay, but how about? And she'd come with a solution that makes both of you feel stupid. How did we not see that? And she's only 6 years old. So now, how then do we sit here and have the arrogance to say we know more than them? I mean, who is sitting here arguing about this and this child solved it? So where do you get the arrogance to say, I'm older, I know more? Instead of appreciating that gift that is that human being. I'm a traditional healer. Sometimes I have clients and I have to find out what the problem is. And at times, I don't see it because of course, I can't see everything. I won't be able to see everything. My son helps me out sometimes. He'd come and sit next to me and say, yeah, but Abba, look at it like this. And that's the solution to the problem. That's the answer that these people have come here to ask. Now, am I going to say, hey, shut up, what do you know? No. Help me out, my nigga. You're as much me as I am you. So if I can't do it, you definitely will be able to do it. Or rather, we can do it together. We need to respect our children, not raise them.
Respect them, not raise them. How does it feel being a father?
The best thing in the world. The greatest feeling. I love being a father. I love every second of it, every minute of it. I've been there with all three of my kids from the day they were born. I fetched them from hospital and I've been there with them every day. It's only weekends when I don't see them sometimes or when I'm busy, but I cannot live without my kids. Being a father to me is the best thing in the world. I cannot change it for anything. I'm planning to have 1,000 more children. I love being a father. Why? I feel like I'm watching myself expand through them, but I'm also learning so much about myself through them. Things I overlooked, things I thought were not important, things I took for granted. They are helping me realize that there's so much more depth in life than what you see with the naked eye. The fact that 3 children, 3 different characters, 3 different personalities, it keeps me on my toes because I have to deal with this one as this one. I have to deal with this one as this one. I have to deal with this one as this one. And it means I cannot stagnate and say, no, this is how things are, rigid. No. It says I also have to grow and expand and learn and be willing to learn. Being a father is more than a blessing, man. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. I hope all men would feel like this about being fathers and actually take the responsibility to raise their kids, you know?
When did you have your first kid? And are there times that you wish you had them earlier?
I had my first kid when I was, in my early 20s. Yeah. And my first son in my early 20s. I got married young. I had my first kid in my early 20s. And yeah, it's been a beautiful trip ever since.
Did the idea of thinking, maybe I'm not ready to have kids right now?
Not at all. Not at all.
So you had them at the perfect age?
At the perfect age. I was ready and willing. I wanted it to happen. I wanted it to happen. It was not a mistake. I actually wanted it to happen. If I tell you the truth, I fasted my son into existence. I actually summoned him from the spirit world. Yeah. I wanted him to come. And he came. And I've been happy ever since. He's never given me trouble. He's a good boy, obedient, respectful, calm, a bit on the weird side, but he's a lovely boy. Plays rugby, plays volleyball. He's an artist. He draws. What else? He loves reading. He surprised me recently, you know. He started reading books outside school, you know. And I'm like, yeah, that's my son. That's my boy. Yeah. His sisters, I'm as proud, if not more. Yeah, but yeah. I wouldn't change it for anything.
We have made a full turn. We started by speaking about breathing. when you're speaking about your kids?
I'm breathing. I'm alive.
Thank you so much, Abba.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you too.
Blessed.